Hi, and welcome to the Life After 50 show. It's what you need to know for the second half of your journey. I'm Katherine Watson, and I will be your host today. Today's show is sponsored by FindHoustonSeniorCare.com. FindHoustonSeniorCare.com is a web directory, and it's your one-stop shop if you're in the Houston and surrounding areas. We offer everything from elder law attorneys to assisted living, home care companies, hospice companies, and so much more. In addition, there's over 500 blogs, podcasts, and videos to help you learn more about this journey into elder care. And I know it's a journey that many of you are struggling with. So we want to help. If you want to have something else on this show, you want me to bring a certain expert in, please let me know in the comments below. Tell me if there's a particular person that you want me to reach out to, or if you are interested in being on the show yourself, or if there's a subject that's near and dear to your heart. Let us know so we can help out. Today, I'm really excited. Glenda Nelms just came on and said, good morning, Catherine and Julie. Good morning, Glenda. We're glad you're here. Please let us know if you have any questions or if you just want to make a comment about what we're talking about. We are going to be talking today about a subject that is really important. We're talking about early detection for Alzheimer's and dementia. Why does it matter? And I'm going to be talking with Dr. Julie Kutac about this. And I'm going to bring Dr. Kutac on in just a few minutes. But I want to tell you a little bit about her first. She is an amazing lady. Dr. Julie Kutac is a professional education and research specialist for the Alzheimer's Association in Houston and Southeast Texas chapter. She received her BS in molecular biology with a minor in theology from Texas Lutheran University, her MA in religious studies from Rice University, and her PhD in medical humanities from the University of Texas Medical Branch. Dr. Kutac's research at Rice focused on the ethics of memory and first-person illness narratives that captured the subjective experience of Alzheimer's disease. At the Institute of Medical Humanities at the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston, Dr. Kutac continued her studies on aging and elder care as a National Institute of Aging pre-doctoral fellow with the Seeley Center on Aging. Her dissertation focused on suffering, the elderly, and ways that the medical humanities can improve the practitioner-patient relationship. She has many awards, including the Chester R. Burns Award in Medical Humanities, the John D. and Ann Stobo Award in Auxiliary Medicine. That's a different one. You'll have to tell me about that later, Dr. Kutac, and is a member of the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society. As a professional educational and research specialist for the Alzheimer's Association, Dr. Kutac serves as the content expert for the chapter. She organizes conferences and prepares and delivers evidence-based education programs to healthcare providers across Southeast Texas. Dr. Kutac also liaises with the scientists studying Alzheimer's disease in the Texas Medical Center, facilitating connections between scientists and the community. She's presented her work at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference, the American Society for Bioethics and Humanities National Conferences, the Conference on Medicine and Religion, among others. Her writings are published in the Journal of General Internal Medicine and the Journal of Medical Humanities. Wow, we are really excited and happy to have Dr. Kutac on the show today. And I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. And there she is. Hi, Dr.
Hi,
Kutac.
Catherine.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm so happy to have you on again. Dr. Kutac was one of my very first guests for this program. I think it was in either January or February.
I don't know where
And
the time is going.
I know. And we're going to bring her on regularly, right?
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely. I'm
because
happy to be here.
she has so much information, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day because I know you are very busy at the Alzheimer's Association. Y'all are always doing a million things over there and have so much information for us.
Thank you.
Today, we're going to be talking about that topic that, you know, a lot of families struggle with. Do I want to know? Should I find out? What if I do have it? They don't have a cure anyway, so why does it really matter?
Yeah.
So, Dr. Kutac, address that, please.
Yes, I'm so glad that we're here talking about this today. This is a particular passion of mine. Alzheimer's disease is such a public health crisis, and it affects the person with the disease, but it also affects the family. And because Alzheimer's is a disease for which there's no means for preventing it or curing it or slowing the progression of the symptoms, it can be a very scary process for families. And so one of the ways that we try to protect ourselves is by living on that famous river in Egypt, denial.
Yes.
That's Mark Twain's phrase, not mine, but some people use this denial to kind of protect themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But early diagnosis is so incredibly important because it gives you the gift of time. The earlier that you can find out that changes are happening, the more time you have to prepare, to get your legal plans in order, to get your financial plans in order, and to have those critical conversations with your family about what your wishes are, what your hopes are, what your values are, and what you want out of the future. So the more time that you have this kind of golden opportunity to be able to really articulate your wishes in a way that when the time comes that you can't articulate your wishes anymore, plans have already been put in place. So I think that it's always really important to have critical conversations before the time of crisis. And so the earlier, the better when it comes to diagnosis.
So how many people would you say actually follow your advice on that? What kind of percentages are we looking out there? Would you say most of us like to stick our head in the sand and pretend it's not happening?
I don't know about that, and I don't think that it's necessarily something that people are doing consciously. I think that there's a little bit of misinformation about what natural brain aging looks like versus what the warning signs of dementia are. And I think that it's easy to chalk things up to natural aging. Everybody experiences brain aging. By virtue of being on this earth for any number of years. That's natural. So the same way that our hips age and our, age, our brains age too. So there's a difference between normal brain aging and the changes that go along with something like Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so the Alzheimer's Association has put together these 10 warning signs that if you look at any one sign by itself, you could think, oh, well, everybody does this occasionally. But when you take it as a whole, if you're starting to see some patterns and that these changes are severe enough to interfere with daily life, it's really critical to take those as clues and then go to the doctor and have a conversation with the doctor. So there are conditions that mimic dementia that are reversible.
Mm-hmm.
So things like low thyroid or depression or vitamin B12 deficiency or drugs that interact with one another. And we know that many of our elders are taking multiple medications, and those medications may have interactions with one another that then mimic signs of dementia. Mm-hmm. So those things can be addressed, and then you can put your mind at ease. But if it does turn out to be dementia, then you've got this extra time like we talked about. Mm-hmm. If it's not dementia, you've got a baseline for looking at changes in the future. So there is absolutely no downside to my way of thinking of having that conversation with a trained healthcare provider, and then keeping that relationship with the healthcare provider going over time.
I agree with that. My question, Dr. Kutac, because we dealt with this with my mother-in-law, a lot of the physicians weren't really trained to identify and diagnose properly. And we went through some challenges with that where they, said, well, we don't think anything's wrong with her. And, I had just given them a whole book of things that she had done that were really off the charts bizarre, that definitely were signs that she did have a problem, which in the end, we know she did. How do you know if your doctor is educated enough in that area? And I'm not saying they're not educated, but they may not be that educated in diagnosing dementia and other types of, all types of dementias.
Yeah, that's a good question. And so the Alzheimer's Association is approaching this question from a number of different angles. One, we do physician outreach to talk about why early detection matters. The Alzheimer's Association is even looking towards steering the conversation about what early detection looks like. Mm-hmm. Of course, in the olden days, Alzheimer's was only diagnosable on autopsy, and still officially there's some technical truth to that, but now we have imaging that can look and see the plaques and tangles starting to form in the brain. And scientists are working, and the Alzheimer's Association is working very closely with these scientists to standardize biomarkers, mm-hmm. so that Alzheimer's could be diagnosed in the preclinical phase before there are any clinical symptoms, or in the stage where there's mild cognitive impairment, where there are changes that will show up on tests but are not severe enough to interfere with daily life at this point. Mm-hmm. So we're working structurally to help move that needle towards earlier and earlier diagnosis. Where we have also worked very closely with the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare. And now there's cognitive care planning that is reimbursable by Medicare. Mm. So one of the challenges is that physicians weren't incentivized to do cognitive care planning. And now they can reimburse for that, and they can reimburse it over multiple trips. So mm-hmm. we know that it takes time to plan for the future and to talk about Alzheimer's. So now that's reimbursable. So we're working on that. We also have education opportunities for our healthcare providers. So the Alzheimer's Association has a free continuing medical education course about having difficult conversations with families. That's free. They can take that course online. So we know that there's still a long way to go. Mm-hmm. People with cancer are told their diagnosis of cancer at a significantly higher rate than people aren't told that they have Alzheimer's disease. Mm-hmm. nearly as often. Less than half of people with
Yeah.
Alzheimer's are told that they have
Oh,
Alzheimer's
really?
disease.
Wow.
Yes.
I had no
So we know
idea.
there's a lot of work to do. And so we're working both at the grassroots level to teach docs and
Hmm.
other healthcare providers, nurses, social workers, professionals, paraprofessionals, direct care workers. We're working with them, and then we're also working structurally to help change the cultural conversation about Alzheimer's disease in general. So
Great.
I know it's a long and maybe complicated answer, but everything that we do is in service of the mission and in improving the care for people who are living with Alzheimer's.
Great, great. That is so important. So, Dr. Kutac, is there any kind of list that the Alzheimer's Association has of doctors that have maybe gone through the program?
Um, Not necessarily who have definitely gone through the program, but we do have physicians, neurologists, and geriatric psychiatrists who are the ones who have received advanced training.
Mm-hmm.
That's all found on our community resource finder. So the website for that is communityresourcefinder.org. That's our clearinghouse for programs and services that are offered by the association. So since we're a nonprofit, we don't recommend one physician over another or one center over another, but we're very lucky in the Houston area to have several centers of excellence. And those centers of excellence are listed on our community resource finder, as well as geriatric psychiatrists and neurologists who feel comfortable dealing with Alzheimer's. So you
Mm-hmm.
go into that community resource finder, you plug in your zip code and what it is that you're looking for, and then it'll populate based on geography. So
Oh, that's
so
great.
the Alzheimer's Association is in the zip code 77087. So I go to we call it the CRF for short, the Community Resource Finder. I type in 77087, and then the ones that are closest to there will pop up. The
So,
CRF also is our place to find elder law attorneys, respite care, support groups,
mhm.
education programs. So there's a wealth of information there for families.
And I want to just touch on the support groups because I think that is so important for
Yes.
anybody that's dealing with this. If you've been diagnosed early, getting into a good support group, your family members getting into a good support group will make all the difference in the world.
That's right.
I had a gentleman the other day that, when I talked to him about getting in a support group, he said, "Oh, I don't like to go to those kind of places. I don't want to share my information." And I said, "Well, you don't have to." I said, "Just be a fly on the wall and listen."
Right. Yes.
Because what will happen is you'll find out that the people in that group have tons of information that you need, and they'll be able to point you in the right direction of information that you need to have.
Yes.
So that's really important.
Yes.
The community resource finder, I think, is just huge, huge, huge. And I've put the link up here for everybody. Just make sure that you go check that out because I think that is really important for everybody.
Thank you. And just to add a few things about the support groups, I think one of the most heart-wrenching things about Alzheimer's is for the person with the disease and for the family member, it can feel so isolating. Like you're the only one going through it.
Right.
And the definition of suffering is it's two-pronged. It's a sense of meaninglessness and powerlessness. And what support groups do is help you resist the sense of powerlessness and meaninglessness by meeting others who are walking a similar journey. It may not be exactly the same. And if you have met one person with Alzheimer's, you've met one person with Alzheimer's. I mean, there's a lot of variability in that.
Exactly.
But meeting others who are walking a similar path where you can bounce ideas, vent, share your joys, have a laugh, find the things that, that are moments of joy that can sustain you. It's just critically important. And if you don't have time to go to a support group, we have message boards on our Alzheimer's website that you can go and you can just read what other people have written from across the country. So you can have a virtual support group from the comfort of your own home.
And that's so important because a lot of people cannot. And that's one of the reasons why I created this Life After 50 show. People are busy. Maybe they're caring for a loved one and they can't get away to go and attend a support group, but you can go to your virtual support group.
That's right.
And that is really important. Just, get out there and get the information because you may think you know everything about it, but I guarantee you do not.
Well, and if you do know a lot about it, you can be a mentor to others.
Absolutely. And you know what? That feels good when you can do that. Yeah. When you can be in the position. I've talked to caregivers who have been on their journey quite a while, several years or so, and they just get so much joy out of being able to help somebody that's new to it navigate and avoid the pitfalls that they fell into when they first started on their journey.
You are absolutely right. So many of our facilitators of our support groups who are passionate, wonderful volunteers, and we can't thank them enough because we cannot achieve the mission of the Alzheimer's Association without our volunteers. Mm-hmm. So many of them were caregivers, and now it's their way to give back. So if that's you speaking out to the folks who are watching this interview and you want to give back, there are so many different ways that we can plug you in. And I just think it's such a way to honor your loved one by serving the community.
And I've put the phone number up. Sabrina was kind enough to post in the comments where to call if you're interested in helping with those support groups. So we've got that up on the screen now. So I would like to make sure everybody knows about that. Julie, as always, time goes so fast when I talk to you. I mean,
it sure does.
It's getting close to the end. It's not the end yet, but it's getting close. So I just want to talk about I have a couple of links up here that I want to bring up. You have a caregiver conference that will be coming up. So tell us a little bit about that. When is it? Great.
Our caregiver conference is happening on June 22nd. At Chapelwood United Methodist Church. It's early registration right now, and the exciting thing about it is that we offer respite care. So a caregiver can bring their loved one. Their loved one will be safe and cared for, and then the caregiver can go get educational programs, have a chance to ask experts their questions. We'll have experts from a variety of community supports, everything from the Ombudsman program to Meals on Wheels to the gatherings. We'll have lots of our friends there to answer questions. We're also excited this year that we're going to have a self-care fair, so people can come in and learn about different self-care techniques that can help them on the journey. And then the final thing that I'm so excited about for our caregiver conference this year is that we will have 3 informational sessions in Spanish. So if you know of Spanish-speaking caregivers, we will have speakers who can teach those folks as well, encourage them and give them strength for the journey. I wish I could say that in Spanish, but luckily there are wonderful people here in the community who speak much better Spanish than I do. We also have a conference for healthcare professionals coming up.
Put the link up for that one.
Yeah. Okay. That conference is going to be on May 18th, and it's going to be at the Hope and Healing Center. This is for our healthcare providers. The conference offers 5.5 CEUs for nurses and social workers. We offer group discounts, student scholarships. We want to be a resource to the community. There are still sponsorships available. We're really excited that our conference sponsor this year is Belmont Village. We're very thankful for their support, and we look forward to a great day of learning. Dr. Susan Weary, who is the chief of geriatrics at the New England College of Osteopathic Medicine, is going to be one of our keynote speakers, as well as Morgan David, who is the senior director for health systems at the Alzheimer's Association in the national office. So it's going to be a great day of learning, and I hope people can attend. So we have opportunities for healthcare professionals, we have opportunities for family caregivers, and so it's conference season here at the association. We're also gearing up for the Longest Day, which is our second major awareness event. So if you're interested in learning more about the Longest Day, give us a holler at our number, and we can tell you how to put your passion together in service of those who you love to help raise funds and awareness for the Alzheimer's Association.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, as always, a wealth of information. Like I said before, it goes always too quick when I talk to you. But we'll have
to come back.
Dr. Kutac back, and we'll try to bring her back on a regular basis. If there is a subject that you want her to talk about, let us know. And we'll talk to her and see if we can make that happen. So we want to help as many people as possible. That's the intention of the Life After 50 show. And I'm just so blessed and thankful that we have somebody like Dr. Kutac that can help us spread the word and get great information out there to so many people. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Oh, thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this show. It's a wonderful benefit for the community.
Great, great. Okay, so we are, I'm going to let Julie go back into the lobby, and I want to thank all of you for joining the Life After 50 show today, whether you listened live or whether you are listening to a replay of the broadcast. You can always ask questions in the comment section below on Find Houston Senior Care Facebook page. I will be monitoring that. I'll make sure that we get the answers you need. If I don't have them, I'll make sure that Dr. Kutac gets that information, and somebody from her team can help to answer those questions. So we've got a lot of people that have been showing up on the show today. Looks like a lot of viewers out there. So I'm really excited about that. Please share this with the people in your tribe, your group of people that you know and care about, because you never know who might be dealing with something that maybe you don't know about yet. And we want to get that information out to as many people as possible. If you'd like to be a sponsor or a show guest, we are always looking for new topics and new guests to come on the show to help those who are over 50 or approaching 50. And just fill out the form on Find Houston Senior Care /guest-application. Again, thanks to Dr. Julie Kutac for being on the show. Thanks to the Alzheimer's Association for everything they do. They are so active in this community and do just a world of information and help to so many people. So thanks again. Have a great day. Thanks so much.